Hello, Whisky folk. It's Roy, 10:15, another Thursday vPub. Fantastic to see you all here. Welcome in, everybody. I can see, I always have a wee glance over here just before I press that go live button, and there was 50 people waiting, kicking in the door, as I say, and as my friend over in Denmark, Caskmate, points out as well. He's saying we kicked in the door. Welcome, everybody, to another Thursday night live stream. This is an extra live stream tonight because obviously there are 5 Thursdays in this month. So with the 2 middle weeks, rather than kind of miss one out and have another 3-week gap, I thought I'd do 3 live streams this month. Actually 4, because next week will be a patron-only live stream as well on the 22nd. And then the next vPub will be on the 29th, which is 2 weeks from today. Superb to see you all in. It's superb to welcome you here. And what's really, you know, that quickening is happening. We're right in the middle of whiskey season. Everybody's enjoying their drams. In the Northern Hemisphere, at least, the nights are getting a wee bit darker and cooler. I can see that Christina's in. Christina Zarpoli, she's actually been complaining that she's driving home in the snow right now. But we're all looking forward, I think, to getting home on occasional nights and pouring a little dram and enjoying it. There's just nothing better, though, than being able to share it with somebody, right? And even when you're at home, and you're tucked up alone, you can join us here, pour a dram, and share it with other whiskey-loving folks across the globe. It's really fantastic. Tonight, I was a wee bit disappointed last time because I went over 2 hours. I'm going to really try and keep it below 2 hours tonight. I'll do my best. There is, of course, a quiz at the end with some questions from the Whisky Ref tonight. But the theme tonight is talking about scoring whiskey, and I thought that would be an appropriate subject to go along with the dram or the bottle that I'm going to uncork tonight, and that was Jim Murray's Scotch Whisky of the Year, the Glen Grant 18-year-old. Now it's really, really difficult to get a hold of. I hadn't seen it anywhere. When I eventually stumbled across it, I bought it because I was curious and I didn't want the prices creeping up any higher than they already had gotten. Glen Grant is actually quite a nice whiskey already. I'm a big fan. I was very curious to try the 18-year-old because I'd never tried it before, despite it being a number of years that Mr. Murray has been going on about it. So that's kind of the loose theme for the night, and I'll talk about some other things. I'd like to give a resume of last weekend as well, because that was a good whiskey weekend, believe me. So let's just grab the chat, let's just grab the lounge, see who's pulled up a chair, who is in joining us all tonight. Kilted Moose Scott, fantastic, my friend. Always great to see you in. And he's saying still recovering from the Glasgow Whisky Festival. I know exactly what you mean, Scott. So just have a small glass of Kilchoman Loch Gorm, fantastic. Steve A is in, Whisky Friend, that's Alan, fantastic. Whisky Dram, Dwayne, my friend Dwayne, fantastic to see you in. I hope you've gotten over your jet lag now. You're just probably recovered from your trip to... oh, I don't want this machine over here doing updates. I think you should be recovered by now, Dwayne. It's great to see you in. Christina, I've already mentioned Christina. Welcome, Christina. Great to see you in. Cast Strength is in. I think that must be Vito, because I've also seen Josh in tonight. Mark Goins is in. Gus Teruel is in. Cascode is in. McCallan Fine and Rare, the doc, fantastic to see you, my friend. Looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time. Frank Harding, Prestige Liquids is in. Marcus is in, Marcus Kreitner, superb Marcus. Everwind, ahoy, Everwind, good to see you. Tony Evans, fantastic, Tony. Good to see you, good to welcome you back in again. My friend, the Whisky Rev, has made it in, superb. I wasn't sure whether you were going to make it, buddy. Fantastic to have you in, riding shotgun. Thank you very much. If anyone's trying to get a hold of me and failing, they can also try to get a hold of the Whisky Rev's attention, and he has the ability to send me a direct message as well. James is in, James Bricker. Fantastic. So many people in from the States. Wonderful to have you all here. Cap and Make It Happen. Jeffrey E. Patron. Superb, Jeffrey. Whiskey Jason from Germany. Fantastic. Thomas McCrory. Now, there's a funny story I'll tell you about Thomas a little bit later. But Thomas is a fellow Glaswegian, and I got the ability, I finally got a chance to meet Thomas at the weekend, which was a pleasure. Razvan is in, superb Razvan, good to see you. Colourless Blue, thanks my friend, great to see you. Jill is in, got to meet you at the weekend again, Jill, fantastic. Aviation Pro, Jimmy Jazz, Crispiano Leao. Sorry, Crispiano, if I'm making a mess of that. Brad Murphy, City Steading, Simon Ray, Kenneth Kennelty, Matthias, Ardbaggy, Andy's in. I'm hoping to see you this weekend as well, Andy. Just so many of you, and 118 of you already, and I've just about got through as many as I can without losing the attention of everyone, right? Wonderful to have you, and some new names as well appearing there. I've got an Anita, Niniel, hi there, Anna here. Fantastic, Anna. So I'll also get a chance to mention you as well, Anna. Fantastic to welcome you in. Nice to see everybody. Tell us what you're sipping tonight. I know you've already been sharing that. I am sipping one of the gifted whiskies I was given this weekend. Last weekend was fantastic. An exceptionally fun whiskey weekend. I had a quiet family night on Friday night because I was away for the entire weekend, all Saturday and Sunday. Saturday was the Glasgow Whisky Festival. And the Glasgow Whisky Festival is completely independently run. It's run by the Glasgow Whisky Club and Paul McDonough, Mark Connolly, Julie Hamilton. These are really Glasgow whisky folk that come together with a team and arrange this fantastic event, and it's building and building and building, and it outgrew its original venue of the Arches a few years ago, and it's more recently been in our national stadium, which is Hampden Park in Glasgow. It's a little bit outside of town, but it's pretty easy to get to, and it gives it that space, and boy does it work. There was northwards of 70 exhibitors at the Glasgow Festival on Saturday, and yet over the two halls that it was in, it never felt overcrowded. It never felt too jostly, too busy. There was a fantastic vibe there. So many exhibitors, so many producers in, so many independent stands as well. And it was just a great, great day. Now, they do it in two sessions. It was 4 hours in the afternoon. That's the session that we were in. And then 4 hours in the evening as well. I know that so many of you joined for the evening session. I would like to know what you thought if you did get a chance to go to the festival this last weekend. It was just a really, really cool festival, and I'm already excited to go next year again. I had the opportunity to meet up with a lot of folk who just happened to be going, or people that had arranged to come along for the thing that was happening on the Sunday, which was Ralphie's charity tasting held at the Good Spirits Company in Glasgow. Just when I thought that it couldn't get any better than the Saturday, right? Sunday comes along, and just another wonderful day. Now, I've been sharing various posts and things on social media, Instagram, Facebook, on Twitter a little bit as well. If you don't follow me on Instagram, do that, because the stuff I share on Instagram tends not to be duplicated anywhere else. I try and keep it a little bit original, right? Just fantastic, fantastic. There's that word again. But to meet the people, to meet the folk. I had given away some tickets for the Ralphie thing, so those guys joined me for the festival on a Saturday too. I gave away a ticket to Stuart Peel, who came up for the festival, and I gave a ticket to my friend Era from Belgium, and also Jez from the London Whisky Club down in London. So he came up with his friend James Hope, and just slowly but surely all these people from the community started to build. I've just had a donation in from a friend in Denmark. Caskmate is saying, "May the force be with you always." Thank you very, very much, Caskmate. It's a wonderful donation. I'll raise a glass and I'll say thank you very much. May the force be with you also. That's not how you reply to that, is it? Thank you. I wonder why the Star Wars mention. But I also got a chance to meet up with Scott Monroe again, Kilted Moose, Sevi the Alchemist, who I'm not sure is going to be in tonight, actually. Sevi's usually around, the Alchemist. He was there with us for the weekend. And also got to meet some other people from the community. I had a Spanish lady come up to me and introduce herself as somebody who watches the show. And she said that her boyfriend has been watching for a long time, and she watches as well. And that was Anna. And Anna introduced me to her boyfriend, Thomas McCrory, who's also a patron of mine and lives in Glasgow. So it was fantastic to meet Thomas as well. and Thomas and Anna were able to join us for the Ralphie tasting on the Sunday as well. So after the Ralphie tasting, we all kind of just went round for a relaxed dram at the pot still. And, you know, the pot still, I use the analogy of a Petri dish. It sounds awful, I know, but what happens there is you maybe get one or two seats, you get a little stool or a little perch somewhere to sit. And then with the, you know, the ebb and flow of people coming in and out of that little Glasgow pub, you start to make more space and make more space. And by the time that we'd been in there for a dram or two, we'd occupied 4 tables. And we managed to get our way through emptying 3 bottles of whiskey. We emptied a Loch Lomond, a Deanston, and an Old Pulteney, I think it was. So that was a great, great day as well. I'll mention a couple of those moments through the live stream as they kind of pop into my head and things. Let's pick up a couple of mentions here before I go on to the topic for this evening. Alcohol, tobacco, firearms and coffee. ATFC is in. Welcome in again, my friend. He's saying, cheers, Aquavite, and all watching superb. Marcus is saying, no Glen Grant 16 here, but is that an independent bottler? That'll be Sudna Halba, Inchgour, 10 years old. So it's an independent Inchgour. Inchgour is a really, really tough whiskey to get a hold of. I love the Flora and Fauna version of it. I think it's a great dram. I'd like to see more of it. How are you enjoying it, Marcus? Top Whiskies is in. Fantastic to see you, Ed. He's saying, sounds like a great festival. It really, really was. I would actually suggest that it's worth travelling for. It already sells out well in advance. Usually the afternoon session is the first to go, and then the evening session sells out as well. The tickets usually go on sale round about March time, so keep your eyes out for that. If you're up for a trip to Glasgow, it's a fantastic excuse for it. Prestige Liquids is saying that he's just dropping in to say hi, and he's saying, I hope the chat goes well. It'll surely. He's saying, I'll have to catch the rest on the replay later due to calls. Yes, that's the trouble. So many of you, I know, because of time zones and things like that, are indeed at work. Superb. Travis is in. Travis Suders, fantastic to see you, my friend. Actually, I know I keep saying Suders. I know it's Soders. Travis Soders, he's saying, hello there, friend. Hello there, straight back at you, Travis, fantastic. Everyone is saying, we are your whiskey Padawans. I actually called someone a whiskey Padawan this weekend. And somebody's saying, Casimate is saying, I have a sneaky suspicion that you're a Star Wars guy. Check your earlier videos. Ah, okay, yes. Yes. I know in one of my very early videos, there's a model Millennium Falcon sitting in the corner, right? My son's Millennium Falcon. Yeah, I'm a Star Wars fan. I love it. I wouldn't say I'm an absolute uber fan, but I do enjoy it very much. And Whiskey Wolf, Rolf, fantastic. Rolf also travelled along for the Glasgow Whisky Festival on Saturday. It was an absolute pleasure to meet the guy. You'll know Rolf as Whiskey Wolf, formerly known as Ebhead. It's much easier to say Rolf, right? But it was great fun meeting him. He couldn't join us for the Ralphie thing on the Sunday, unfortunately, but it was fantastic to have him hanging out with us at the festival on the Saturday. Andy's saying, no dram for me, off to Wisha in the morning. Yes, you're travelling up here, Andy, aren't you? I'm looking forward to getting a chance to share a dram with you again. I doubt we'll be able to find anything as sublime as that 1973 Pulteney, though, right? Yeah, safe travels up tomorrow, my friend, and I understand why you're abstaining tonight. Travis has just sent a wee donation across the Atlantic to say, sorry, I've been away. There's never any need to apologise. You know, you can come and go into this scene. I know that life gets in the way, and sometimes it's really difficult to make the time, especially when there's so much content going on out there. There's so many really, really cool channels, so many cool live streams happening, and it's difficult to make time for it all. But you're always very welcome in here, Travis. Thank you for that generous donation. Let me show you what I'm sipping, because it's delicious. This was given to me by Whiskey Rover, by Jason. And he brought this along on Sunday. This is a Deanston Distillery only bottling of an American craft ale finish. Now, it wasn't a full bottle. I haven't managed to get through that since Sunday. It's pretty strong as well. It's 50.5%, but it's quite a young whiskey. There's no age on here. Jason thought it was somewhere around 5, 6, 7 years old, that kind of age. And it does taste a wee bit youthful, but it's got a wonderful mouthfeel. It's got that Deanston, that kind of more recent Deanstons, that really coating mouthfeel is fully intact, and it's very, very creamy. I wrote in my notes when I shared this on Instagram the other day that I get a lot of Milky Bar from it, which is a white chocolate in the UK. And I'm getting that a wee bit tonight, but it's lovely. Lots of spice, lots of white pepper and things like that as well. But I was looking forward to pouring another one of those, and that's what I started tonight with. And I actually poured it in a Deanston glass, but that was out of coincidence. I am not sponsored by Deanston. I am not sponsored by anybody. I am supported by you fully. But what I'm going to follow up with in a nice clean glass is a Springbank. This is the Springbank Local Barley. This is the one that was released, I think, at the end of last year, and then promptly disappeared. I managed to lose every tip-off I got of a bottle of this existing I missed out on, and it was just getting sold out before me. And then I went on holiday at Easter time down in Lincolnshire, and I found a little off-license down in Lincoln that had it just kind of sitting there on the shelf. Obviously grabbed it straight away. But I love this. And it's, again, another one of those kind of mouth-feel whiskies. So I'll have a short dram of this with you before I get on to opening this Glen Grant. Marcus is saying Sudna Halba is an independent bottler that distributes through Aldi here in Austria. It is very good, bright and spicy. So you're able to buy Inchgauer from Aldi. That's incredible. Aldi is a European discount supermarket chain. Baggy is saying, Andy's saying, don't bank on it. I've got a treat for you. You're some man, Andy. I look forward to that. Casper is saying, Deanston needs to start paying you. Absolutely not. I don't want to be paid by any brand or producer. I think that I do need the ability to be able to just switch and evangelize about whatever producer I think are bringing the goods. And there's so many of them out there, really. Ben Romack, Bal Blair, Aaron, Kilhoman, Springbank, of course, even though we can't buy the stuff. There's so many producers out there that are bringing really, really good, engaging, well-presented whiskies, pointed firmly at the whiskey geek in us all. And I think when they do it and they do it well and they bring it along at a decent price, that's what I want to evangelize about. That's the type of whiskies that I want to share with you. Gregor is saying, hey Gregor, how are you? He's saying Aquaviti finally cracked open the Linkwood Gordon MacPhail I bought. Great dram. Deceptively light on the nose, but packs a tremendous amount of flavour. Absolutely. Linkwood is another cracking distillery. Diageo have so many gems in their portfolio. They really, really do. Thank goodness for Flora and Fauna, because otherwise we really wouldn't get a chance to try these. And I know that that frustrates a lot of people outside of the UK or Europe that can't get a hold of Flora and Fauna very easily. Travis Keltner is saying, Travis, welcome in, my friend. He's my 100th patron, you star. Picked up a Bordeaux finished Deanston this weekend that I will be opening over the holidays. It's very spicy. Use water. It takes water very, very well. And with water, it really brings out tons and tons of fruit. I love that dram. I absolutely love it. But it's powerful. It's a powerful prospect. The doc is saying Macallan Fine and Rare. No shaky. You just met Ralphie, didn't you? Yes, I met Ralphie. What was cool about meeting Ralphie this time is that he recognised me. That was very, very cool. Because the previous two times I'd met him, well, perhaps that's not fair to him, actually. When I met him at the Old and Rare earlier this year, I think he recognised me by that time. By that time, I'd already done his tribute live stream, right? And I'd met him before that at his previous tasting, spent a bit of time talking to him. In fact, we had to get kicked out of that tasting because I was talking to him so much. but it was nice, and he kind of spotted me, and he knew who I was, and we met him at the festival on the Saturday. He was there at our session in the afternoon, and we spoke to him briefly, got a couple of pictures taken with him. But then obviously we had a lot more time with him on the Sunday as well. And he made a lot of people in that room very, very happy. And lovely selection of whiskies, great stories, great meandering. He just kind of, being Ralphie, just kind of completely going off track, as is his whim and his will. Everybody absolutely loved that couple of hours on Sunday afternoon. It was fantastic. What have we got? Sorry, the chat is jumping. Daniel Vermas is in. Fantastic, Daniel, from Hungary, I believe. Daniel, very curious about the Talisker 8. Nowhere to get. Where, okay, yeah, it's selling out very, very fast everywhere, isn't it? I'm going to have a wee sip of this Springbank. Spiced butter. And I always forget the ABV. It's 57.3. Wonderful whiskey. Been quite a while since I've had one of these. So a shout out to Anna, who was in the Ralphie tasting with us, and she heard me probably whinging that I'd missed out on Talisker 8 and I couldn't get it anywhere. And she made a couple of quiet inquiries and then came up and said, Roy, if you're interested in a Talisker 18, I've put one aside for you. So Anna works at Clydeside Distillery. She's a tour guide there, and they had 1 or 2 bottles of this still left in the shop. So I did actually manage to get one in the end, and I'm very, very grateful for that. And the reason I was so keen to get this, despite not being a huge Talisker fan, I think there are fantastic Taliskers out there, but I've never been a fan of the 10, is that one of the chaps at the Whisky Club, Roddy, was very, very positive about this expression of Talisker. And that made me very curious. 59.4%, 8-year-old Talisker, really keen to give this a try as well. It might be one I save for a live stream. It might just be one that I pop with some friends. But I'm very glad to have that. Thank you so much to Anna and Thomas for their help in securing that. And it's nice to welcome you and Daniel as well. Alan, the Whiskey Friend, is saying he's just bought an advent calendar. Looking forward to that. I used to love that. I used to love the annual advent calendar. But what I'm finding just now is that I'm so kind of swamped with samples and whiskies that I've still to get to, that I've still to try, that I think what I need to do this year is make my own advent calendar, right? So that I can get through the samples and some of the whiskies that I haven't even opened yet. But it's a fantastic thing to do. It's great fun. And I recommend that you, I don't know, sometimes it's more fun to save up 2, 3, 4 drams and sip them side by side in contrast. The first advent calendar I ever had, I was so keen to try so many that as soon as they were open, I was trying them straight away, because at that time there was just so many whiskies that I had still to try. But it's great fun. I wonder which one you've got. Is it the Master of Malt one? See if I've got some direct messages coming through. Okay, yes. So the Whiskey Rev has just sent me through a question from Kenneth, saying Kenneth was asking if I'd tried the Bunnahabhain Monja Bordeaux. No, I have not, but obviously, given how much I love the Monja Oloroso, I am super keen to give it a try, Kenneth. It's one of the more recent special editions from Bunnahabhain, and I have yet to try it yet. Have you tried it, Kenneth? Have you managed to get your hands on some of that? And Andy is saying he's going to Clydeside on Saturday morning. You know, it's funny, and I had to admit this to Anna when I went there. It's a little bit like the New Yorker who never goes up the Empire State Building, or the Parisian who's never been to the Eiffel Tower. I'm in Glasgow. There's a brand new distillery built in Clydeside, just outside the city centre, right? And the first time I mean, I've driven past it loads of times, but the first time I actually stopped and pulled up in the car park was this week to pick up that Talisker 8. And it's just because it's there. And that's a shame. And I should have significant guilt for that, because I'm very proud and excited about the renaissance that's happening in whiskey in general, but also specifically in Glasgow. We've still got our bottlers, our head offices, our producers. They're all still very much here. But we've got Glasgow Distillery out in Hillington. We've got Clydeside Distillery just down south west of the city centre, right on the river. We've got Clutha that's going to be opening by a Douglas Lane project in the next couple of years as well. We've got really fantastic independent bottlers like North Star Spirits and things like that. And you know, there is a feeling that whiskey has come back to Glasgow in a less kind of hidden way. I'm not talking about warehouses and bottling plants and administrative offices and things like that, but I'm talking about actually making whiskey, and that's a fantastic thing. I missed out on the ballot for the 1770, but I was able to get a bottle of it at the festival on Saturday, and for that I'm very grateful. And I'm also very impressed. This is a 3-year-old whiskey, and it was very tasty. Surprisingly tasty. It's always difficult. You always have to kind of frame that by saying for a 3-year-old. But just honestly, just if it was just poured and put in front of me, I would still suggest it was a very, very tasty whiskey. And I doubt that anybody would pick it out as a 3-year-old, if I'm honest. The Alchemist Sevi is actually in. He's talking to Kilted Moose, and he's saying, "It was such a great day as my first festival. Amazing. So glad you liked it, Sevi. It was a pleasure to have you there as well. Loved the whole day. Tried the Michter's, a revelation, caramel vanilla latte." Yes, I also tried the Michter's American whiskey while I was there, and I thought it was pretty good as well. Phil Cluro, that's a new name, Phil. Welcome in here. You're very welcome. He's saying North Star are doing good stuff. Ralphie's Tasting, fantastic lineup. Won't be able to remember them all, I don't think, but I'll give them a try. It was a Glentocher's 11-year-old from North Star. It was Clynelish 14. There was, and that's where I start to forget, there was a Tobermory Madeira cask strength that was donated by the Good Spirits Company for the tasting. Ralphie brought 5 of his own whiskies, plus he brought along a donation from the venue that was the Good Spirits Company as well, and they donated this new limited edition Tobermory in a Madeira cask, which was damn tasty too. We also had a 23-year-old Old Perth blended malt, delicious dram, and we had a Bon Accord bottling, a staff-only bottling of a 40-year-old blended malt as well. So I'm clearly missing one of the whiskies, at least from that lineup. But once all was said and done, he never held a vote for the best dram of the day or anything. But for me, that Glentocher's, that 11-year-old Glentocher's from North Star, it was really like, we have a powder candy here in the UK called sherbet. I'm sure you have it in the States and everywhere as well. Imagine like a dry sorbet type flavour. It was really like that, and it's so full of fresh fruit and that kind of sherbet effervescence. It just jumped right out the glass. And even after I'd gone through all these fantastic whiskies and went back, because I tend to leave a little drop with a flight, I went back to the start again, the same thing happened. It just jumped straight out. And I thought, for the price of that whiskey, for about £50, that is a cracker. And to be honest, I've never had a Glentocher's that is anything other than fantastic. Sevi's saying the North Star Glentocher's 11. I think he's probably perhaps agreeing with me. Every time I say Sevi, I wake up. I don't even want to say the virtual assistant on this phone. Paul Sweeney, fantastic, Paul. Good to see you in. He's saying, have you tried the Annandale Manor Sword? I've not tried either the Manor Sword or the Manor Words, Paul. Another surprisingly good young whiskey and nicely peated. So Manor Sword, I think, is peated, and Manor Words is not peated. I've tried neither of the Annandales. I would like to. Again, it's not that far from me. It's not that difficult a trip to go down and see that distillery, and I've heard lots of good reports of what they are making down there as well. Sillet Bang H is in. cool tag, Sillet Bang. He's saying, on the subject of 3-year-old whiskey, I recently tried the New Teeling Irish whiskey. Clearly very young whiskey, but a positive sign for future releases. That's right, that's what you're going for. You're trying to see, you're trying to taste past the youth, see what the mouth feels like, see what the texture of the whiskey is like, see what its flavour is like before it's really taken on much from the casks, just to try and imagine what it might be like in the future. Thomas Buck, really sorry, it's not in his line of sight at the moment. Here we go. Oh, there's quite a few coming in. The Whisky Rev is busy supporting tonight. Thank you very, very much, my friend. Thomas Buck is saying, was wondering what he thought of the new Glen Grant line compared to the old. Should I stock up on Glen Grant 16, or will the new 15 suffice? I don't have much intelligence there, to be honest with you. Glen Grant official bottlings, I didn't really engage a lot with. Any Glen Grants that I've really, really enjoyed have tended to come from independent bottlers because they were always good value, Thomas. So I don't really have much intelligence there. Perhaps somebody else in the lounge will be able to help you, though. I'm about to open this 18-year-old tonight, but honestly, it's a wee bit pricey. I mean, I don't know if it's too pricey for an 18-year-old in general. Certainly, it's cheaper than a lot of 18-year-olds out there just now, even despite the awards and things it's had. But Glen Grant is usually a pretty good value dram, so the Glen Grant 18 is a little bit pricey. You'll know more when I uncork it and share it with you. Kenneth Kennelty is saying, have you tried a Bunnahabhain? Yes, sorry, I got that one and answered it. So I realised that the Whisky Rev's been sending quite a few messages through. Okay. Did I miss a virtual dram? He's also said, hi, you got a 30. I don't know what currency that was. I hope that was one that I mentioned. If I've missed a virtual dram, please tell me. I usually catch those. They usually flash up pretty bright. Emery McGill, have you heard about the new release of Red Spot 15-year-old? Also, I see that the bottle of Lefroy 10 cask strength. Great stuff. Emery, fantastic to welcome you in. That's a new name. Yes, I have heard that the 15-year-old Red Spot is out. I think is it red wine casks or something, or Bordeaux casks? Or I don't remember what the cask is, but I was excited. You know, I'm a huge fan of Green Spot, Yellow Spot in general. And I would be excited to try that as well, especially at 15 years old, but I haven't tried it yet. And yes, the Lefroy cask strength, this was actually a gift. Now, this guy's been a supporter of this channel since very, very early on. He's a fellow Glaswegian. He's an absolute gentleman and lovely, lovely guy. And he's in here tonight, and he brought me this and gave me this at the weekend. He told me he brought it for me, insisted and told him, listen, I have to pay for this, and he wouldn't have it. He gifted me this after his trip to Islay, because this 10-year-old cask strength, while it's available in a lot of other markets, free shelf and retail, in the UK, you have to go to the Lefroy Distillery to buy this. So this is a Distillery exclusive. This is batch 10 Lefroy 10-year-old cask strength, and I absolutely love the stuff. Very, very powerful and tasty Lefroy. Very grateful to have a full bottle in the collection. The last time I had this was at the Whisky Club, and I was firmly reminded just how great Lefroy can be. Texture, power, the peat smoke, everything is here. 10 years old seems to be a perfect age for this style of whiskey. So Scott, I'm very, very grateful for that as well. Thank you. You're such a gentleman. There's so many things. I'm doing an Instagram week this week, and I'm calling it Gratitude Week, and I'm just kind of putting on a post every day to share with people just how generous the community was to me this last weekend when they had a chance to meet up with me. It was quite fantastic. Let's catch another couple of the Rev's questions. Travis Keltner is saying, it seems like everyone is doing Bordeaux finish lately. 2 or 3 years ago, I think I only had ever seen one, and now they're getting more common. I know, well, there's more strain on the cask supply chain, I guess, in general. And if they have the ability to get good quality casks that are Bordeaux casks, why not? I used to be not very keen on wine finishes, but like I always say in whiskey, never say you don't like, because you soon get a taste for it and you start to really appreciate it. It was Long Roll Red that I have to thank for changing my mind about wine finishes or wine maturation in general. So yeah, they are getting more common. And that's the thing about the community, is that we can talk to each other and we can discover what the good whiskies are, regardless of what kind of casks they've come from. Some casks automatically have more kudos than others. first fill Oloroso sherry, for example. It doesn't always make a good whiskey, right? So we talk to each other, we figure out which ones are bringing the value, which one are bringing the good quality whiskey experiences. Razvan is saying, have you tried Arran Portwood finish? No, I've tried a couple of the Arran wine finishes. I've got one downstairs. I've got the Amarone downstairs. Pretty good. Arran bottle all of those at 50%, I believe. They do a damn good range. And I've said this to a few people recently and had general agreement back at me that Arran has really, really come of age. Most of the things coming out of Arran now is pretty fantastic. And it's another distillery I have to thank the Whisky Rev for, because that was one that he explored. He was buying the Arran 10 and Arran 14, and I think also the 18 as well, Rev, before I even, that's not true, I had some Arran in my collection, but I had an old Arran 10-year-old, one of the old labels, and I really didn't enjoy it very much. I mean, I enjoyed it fine, it was okay, but when it was finished I wasn't in a hurry to replace it again. And then of course I have things like the Amarone and bits and pieces like that, but it wasn't a distillery I really connected with. Now is the time to connect with Arran. There's just so many messages coming in. Wow. Toon is saying, I'm having a dram of the Deanston Bordeaux cask right now. Did you? I have a bottle. Yes, absolutely, Toon. I did share that. I think it was a Patreon video. I shared the video of that whiskey on Patreon. But yeah, absolutely love it. Like I said earlier, water is your friend with that dram. It comes alive as you bring it down with water. City Staring is saying, I'm interested in what you'll have to say about it, because so far most Glen Grants were unsurprising and somewhat stale. Let's see. Adam Brudner is in. Adam, good to see you. What's up, Roy? It's snowing here in Toronto. I'm going to pour some Benriach 17 PX to warm up. Good for you, Adam. Adam, I think you're the Adam that I watched on a live stream recently, Cask Strength. You were along with Vito, Josh, and Brad. Brad wasn't there that night, actually, but I really enjoyed that chat as well, and it's fantastic, Adam, to welcome you in here. Good to see you, and I hope you're enjoying that Benriach, my friend. Skogsmard. Are you kidding, Rev? That's a new name. Skogsmard. Good to welcome you in, Skogsmard. I just had my first ever dram of whiskey recently. Wow. It was Lefroy 10-year-old. I liked it, but don't have anything to compare with for reference. Where do I go from here? So you started at Lefroy 10. It's amazing just how many people do that. They start at these really heavy, peaty, smoky style scotches. The world is your oyster, my friend. Anywhere you go from here on in, anywhere you go is just going to... I'm almost jealous that you're starting out your journey, because all those epiphanies that are behind me are still ahead of you. You're going to have a fantastic time. Just go out, bar pours, find friends, join a whiskey club. You're going to absolutely love it. If you find that it's that style of whiskey that you love, then there's plenty of that available for you as well. Nice to welcome you in, Skogsmard. It's a very cool name. I wonder where you are. Are you in Norway or perhaps Denmark? But welcome, my friend. I've just had a super chat in from Trenny and C. Let's pay this man for his knowledge. Listen, while these guys are in, and it's fantastic to welcome you in. I don't know if it's Trenny and I don't know if it's C. Maybe it's both of you. It's fantastic. I want to mention them as well and give them a little bit of a shout out here, because you might remember that last week we were able to get the Scotch for Dummies past that 4K subscription barrier. And I noticed, and there was some messages going out on Twitter tonight, I noticed that Trenny and C were damn close to 4K. Now, these guys are two guys in Canada. I think they're in British Columbia. They're on the west coast of Canada, so I'm really impressed that they're in here tonight, because they're about 9 or so hours behind me. But if I check to see where they are just now, we might not get them over the 4K, this little community that we have here, but we might get them damn close to it, and that would be fantastic. Let's see where Trenny and C are. I'm just pulling up a window. Click into Trenny and C. They are 3960. They're at 3,960 subs. If you don't know these guys, they don't take anything, including themselves, particularly seriously. They're in whiskey for fun, and they're having a blast doing it. Some of the videos that they do are just off the wall crazy, and they will have you laughing out loud. They're great guys, they're great fun, and they deserve to have a lot more subs than they do, given the amount of work that they put in and for as long as they've been doing it. If you don't know Trenny NC, give them a look. I don't even care if you skip out of this video for a little while. If you go to Trenny NC, give them a thumbs up on a video and give them a subscription, and then let us know that you've done that. Thank you so much. Great guys. Let's go back to, and thank you, Trenny NC, for your donation as well. By the way, you didn't need to send a donation for me to give you that shout out. I would love to see you guys hitting $4,000. Wow, so many messages coming in. Frank Harden, have you tried the 1771st release from Glasgow? Yes, it's the one I just mentioned, the 3-year-old one. It was damn tasty, Frank. Nice to welcome you in as well, my friend. Kennedino, hi, first time here. You're welcome, very welcome in here, Kennedino. First time here, I can spot your Talisker 8 in the background. Can't wait for you to review it. Just discovered your channel a couple of days ago through Jason's channel. You guys are living legends. Thank you very, very much, Kennedino. Where are you? Where are you in the world? The Mash and Drum Jason is in. Saying, cheers, Roy, love vPub Day. Thank you, Jason. Thank you so much. I know things are going great guns on your channel as well, and I'm thoroughly enjoying what you're putting out, buddy. Thank you for that virtual dram. Gregor is saying, you're planning a 5-dram blind test. Yes, you mentioned, you've sent me some DMs about that. What smoky whiskey would I add into a lineup of Spays and Highland to give it just a hint of smoke for the guys to try and pick up? Springbank or Benromac? Just off the top of my head, the obvious one is Highland Park, of course, as well. Everyone is saying, so seeing everyone review the Bunamoine from the Fischel, the question is, if they can make such an outstanding 11-year-old, why wouldn't they turn it into an official bottling? Okay, so it's the Moine Oloroso you're talking about there, and Oloroso is probably one of the most precious casks that we have, especially if it's a good quality cask, especially if the whiskey's been sitting in it for a while. The Moine Oloroso is exclusively matured in that cask. It's not a finish. That is special whiskey. That is special edition stuff. And it's also super, super precious to help them when they're vatting official bottlings. That's the gold. That's some of the magic stuff that a blender will need to add in order to bring that extra layer of complexity and punch to a potential official bottling or vatting. I would guess that's one of the reasons. Kenneth Kennelty is saying, Kenneth, he's saying quiz bribe, and he's given me a virtual dram. Kenneth, you star, thank you very, very much. I know you support me on Patreon as well. It's lovely to see you in here, and thank you for the virtual dram. And Eric, wait, let me finish my toast to Kenneth first. My friend Eric Waite from California has said we could use a wee bit of Glasgow weather about now. Cheers to the firefighters saving our homes. Absolutely. It's crazy what's going on out there just now. And in Spain, and on the east coast of Spain, I've just noticed today that there's huge, crazy floods happening as well. Things in Glasgow are very typically Glasgow right now. It's cool, a little bit damp, a little bit rainy. We've got no real extremes here, if I'm honest. We're pretty lucky. I can't tell you the last time we had wildfires here or anything crazy like that. I hope things are recovered soon, Eric, and thank you very much for your virtual dram. Let's see. Everyone is saying, so seeing everyone, okay, yes, I caught that one. Everyone, thank you very much. Adam Brudner is saying, glad you enjoyed that episode, dude. It won't be the last time I'll be on. Fantastic. I'll badger veto until I get back on. I really like the kind of cool, relaxed, laid back chat that's going on with that cask spread thing. They call it a podcast, even though it's through YouTube, but it definitely is a podcast. You can literally just have that playing as you potter around doing other things, or you can have it playing in the car or whatever. It's really cool. Jimmy Tube 1. Anyone think Glengoyne 21 is priced well at $130? It is priced fantastically well. I think it's about £110, £115 in the UK. So if you're getting that for $130, that is a bargain. Jimmy Tube, or it's JJ My Tube. Welcome in here as well. It's a fantastic dram. One of my favourites, actually. Glengoyne is tremendous. It's Trenny and C saying it's C. Trenny sucks. You guys are awesome. Wow, there's just so much coming in. I'm managing to keep up most of these. And finally, Travis Keltner is saying, do you have any budget blends that you tend to keep around for cocktails, or just have them towards the end of the night when your taste buds are fatigued? I know exactly what you mean. There are a lot of whiskies that I'm quite happy to use in a mixer or something like that. If I'm so in the mood in Spain this year, I was using even some of my malts with some soda water and ice to make a kind of much more appropriate drink for that temperature. But to be honest with you, some people would think I'm a bit wasteful in that I do occasionally pour a single malt over a chunk of ice to enjoy it over ice. And it's obviously not because I want to sit down and analyse it. I don't want to kind of, take it apart in terms of flavour experience. It's just as an enjoyable sip drink. So it's in a rocks glass, big chunk of ice, couple of chunks of ice, and pour a single malt that I enjoy over it and see how it acts. I love the texture of that. I love that as a drink. But I'm not particularly fussy about what I do that with. I know that's not popular with a lot of folk, but it's my whiskey. And I encourage you to do the same with yours. The Alchemist is saying, so the Glenmarnock 1988 30-year-old was released today for crazy £50. And 1988 30-year-old must be a blend, is it? For £50. I think Glenmarnock is a blend, and that's, I think, from Aldi again, isn't it? So, but I would also guess, Savvy, that it's been put out coloured within an inch of its life and at 40% ABV as well. But it's a 30-year-old whiskey. We know it's going to be 30-year-old whiskey, and it's £50. He's saying, are you going to get some? Probably not, because I think you're going to buy some and you're going to give me some of it. I've spent so much money on whiskey recently that I am kind of on a self-imposed whiskey spending ban. Let's see how long that lasts. And Kennedino is saying again, I live in Stockholm right now, but consider myself to be a true globalist without a nationality. Good for you, my friend. What is your general opinion on the Kavalan Solist series? Fantastic stuff. Fantastic presentation. Solist, single cask strength, great whiskey. Not session whiskey, most of them very rich, very, very powerful. Sometimes, not all the times, occasionally, a wee bit flat. Some of them can be, but delicious, delicious whiskey. And you only need to look at the amount of awards that distillery has gotten. And the crazy thing is, we all know Kavalan. It's very familiar to us. But that distillery has only been producing whiskey for 12 years. That was opened in 2006, and I think it's quadrupled in size since then. A massive, massive success. Can be expensive. The Solist can be expensive. Jason is asking if I've tried the Talisker 8-year-old over shoulder. Sorry, Jason. Good to welcome you in, my friend. I haven't tried it yet. I only just picked it up this week, and I was struggling to get it anywhere. Thanks to my friend Anna down at Clydeside Distillery, she was able to get one for me, but I haven't opened it and tried it yet. When it's over 40 degrees in the summer here, Travis is saying, ice is the only way you survive. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. So let's finish off this wee Springbank. Wow, I haven't even touched the topic. So obviously I wanted to talk about scoring whiskey and how everybody scores whiskey. All the reviewers that are out there, whether they're on YouTube, whether they're on whether they're writing blogs or reviews, whatever it is, the majority of them, many of them have a scoring system. Sometimes it's the 100-point scoring system. Sometimes it's the 100-point system broken down into, aroma, palate, development, finish, whatever it may be, split into either 425s or 520s. Sometimes it's 0 out of 10. Sometimes it's an oddball thing, like the Scotch for Dummies has that 4-finger pour, 3-finger, 2-finger, so on. the Whisky Woman, a channel here from Glasgow, a YouTube channel, Katrina and Roddy, they have bra or no, which is Scots for good or not. So, you know, there's all sorts of ways to kind of give a score. And even me, I have a score system, but I only use it in the recycled reviews, and I only use it as a kind of guide because I know that people are looking for it, and I use a kind of 0 to 10. But I suffer from the same thing as so many do, and that is that you end up clumping all the whiskies somewhere between 6 out of 10 and 10 out of 10, or in the case of the 100-point score, it tends to be 65, 70 to about 90 to 95, and all the whiskies are there. Now, that just might be the appropriate place for them, but that doesn't make a lot of sense to me because 50% is half. 5 out of 10 is halfway. That would suggest to me that it's an average, acceptable whiskey. That's a pass mark to me. Why doesn't that translate into whiskey? Has that come from the scoring that we're used to seeing in things like wine? Or is it because somebody started doing that? Maybe Ralphie, maybe Serge, maybe so many people that started to score whiskies using the 100-point system. But they've all ended up in the same scenario, that there are very few whiskies that drop below 60, and there are very few whiskies that go above, let's say, 94 or 95. So I wanted to know what your thoughts are. Wow, I've got somebody just in here said, hope you liked your t-shirts, Roy. I printed them at Bar One Clothing. Great design. Thank you very, very much, Reggie boy. So you've come in from Bar One Clothing. That's incredible. So did you spot that it was a whiskey thing and work it and try to find out what it was? Because that would be kind of awesome. Yes, I love them. I've still got some left. I don't have any double XLs, but I still have some more t-shirts available for sale. Not all the colours and all the sizes, but I've still got a fairly decent spread of men and women's, and I loved them. I thought the quality of them was fantastic, and most of the feedback I've had, in fact, I've had no negative feedback at all on them, nothing. So it seems to be quite good. Nice to see you in. Your name's just disappeared. I think it was Reggie boy. Multi-Haggis Muncher is in. Fantastic. Is that Matthew? Can you squeeze in a purchase of Clynelish before your self-imposed ban, Roy? That's already accounted for, my friend. I just need to work out how I get it here. Have I already missed your trip to Edinburgh? But yes, that's already accounted for. Whiskey Throttle is saying, and very young whiskies overall. Ardbag is saying, will you break the spending embargo on Saturday? Yeah. I know it's difficult, isn't it? Because there's always things going on. Ben Marnock is saying, hello, Ben, good to see you. He's saying, got 2 bottles of Glenmarnock, opened one tonight. Good nose. They've not skimped on the E150A. It's much darker than last year's 29-year-old. The inevitability is there. And Adam is saying, I use a 50 to 99 point system for my reviews on Reddit. I don't consider value in that, just quality. Well, here's my take on scores. The score that you hear is only relevant if you know the context of the reviewer. If you know what kind of scores they give generally, and it's only in context to other things, does it make any sense to you, I believe. I wanted to grab my Jim Murray Whiskey Bibles. I've got Whiskey Bibles from about 2006 or 2007, going through right to the last one I bought, I think was about maybe 2011 or 12 I stopped, and then I bought a random one in about 2013 or 14. And I found that where I was using it as a guide of whiskies, what to buy when I was kind of earlier on in my journey, it quickly became redundant. And I started to find that the whiskies I was really connecting with and loving were being dismissed in this publication, getting poor scores or poor comments. And that was jarring to me. And it made me second guess my experiences, which you should never do. Your experiences, regardless of the dram, is always completely valid. But I started to not buy that thing anymore, especially when I started to get a wee bit frustrated by the press frenzy that came out about that particular publication every year. The publication I buy annually is this. This is fantastic. This is a reference book. This is a guide with editorial content inside, and it's fantastic. I don't buy the Whiskey Bible. I don't find any value in it anymore. And in the community that I'm involved in, the community that I enjoy whiskey with, not many people disagree with me. Let's put it. That's about the best way I can put it. Just as I reach past this wee bottle, I'm going to share these two with you. Now, these will hopefully come out in my Instagram feed this week as well. But a couple of weeks ago, I got to meet my friend Dwayne Large in Glasgow, and we went out and had something to eat together, and we went to the pot still for a couple of drams. And then he pulled out not one, but two bottles for me as well. So you'll see these appear on Instagram, but I'll take the bubble wrap off these and show you them tonight. This is an NGP whiskey, an Indiana MGP produced product called Tanner's Creek bourbon whiskey that he brought along because he felt this was a decent thing from where Dwayne is from Indiana. So I'm super, super grateful to have that. 42.5% bourbon whiskey. Fantastic. Just starting to get my kind of bourbon head on now. Really starting to enjoy some nice bourbon whiskey, some nice stuff, and starting to get my palate around bourbon, starting to understand it a wee bit more as well. But you also brought me along, knowing how much I loved the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. He's brought me along here. This is a hand-selected barrel that he actually owns the barrel. He's got the empty cask, and he's got quite a few bottles of this. But he brought one of his special bottles across to me of a small batch Elijah Craig, hand-selected and bottled for Vine and Table. At 47% as well. So that's a fantastic and special bottle to have from Dwayne. He's got the empty cask that this was filled from, which is very, very cool. And he brought one of those and gifted it to me. Dwayne, you're a superstar. It was lovely to hang out with you in Glasgow for those couple of drams. And I look forward to the next time you come here. I know that the bungee cord doesn't take long to snap back for you, and you'll be back here soon enough. Thank you so much, my friend. And thank you for your ongoing support as well. You're a star. But let's get this Glen Grant opened. For a Glen Grant, this is quite a nice looking box, and it's all cardboard as well, which I quite like because it's all kind of recyclable. I always feel a wee bit guilty about throwing out these really expensive tubes and cartons that I just really can't be bothered keeping. 43%. And I'm sipping it on the back of a Springbank local barley. Not giving it much of a chance here. But yeah, let's open up Jim Murray's Scotch Whisky of the Year and see what we think of it. Now, to be honest with you, I'm going to be surprised if I dislike this. I've already declared that I quite like the Glen Grants I've tried so far. I think it's an underrated distillery, but they're quite happy because they produce millions and millions of litres. Let's see if we can get a superb. See if we can get a little glug. Let's let it sit in the glass for a minute or two before I stick my nose in it. But yeah, this is the rare edition, 18-year-old, 43%. Now that's a shame, because some of the other 18-year-olds at that price point, the new old Pulteney 18, which we know is quite expensive compared to the old 17, that sits at higher ABV. I think is at 46. So that's kind of a shame straight away. And that tells me at 43% that perhaps this whiskey is not pointed at me, right? That 43% is kind of powerful enough for most folk, and that the majority of this product is perhaps going to get bought as a gift or a special bottle to put in the cabinet alongside something less special. Maybe it's not for the whiskey geek, for the whiskey aficionado, right? Right, I've had a message through from Mark to say we only need 16 more to get Trenny and C to 4,000 subs. That would be awesome if this community managed to lift those guys 40 subs in 30 minutes. Would that not be something else? That would be something worth celebrating. They're at 3984, Mark, you're absolutely right. So before I sip this Glen Grant, if anybody hasn't subscribed to Trenny and C, open up another tab in your browser, dip out of this if you have to, I really don't mind, and jump back in again, and go and give Trenny and C a sub and see if we can lift those boys past the 4,000 mark and they can raise a dram, and I'll ask them to share whatever dram they're going to drink to celebrate on Twitter or something with us a wee bit later. Let's have a look. Well, we've got 178 people watching. Surely there are 16 of you that are curious enough to see the fun whiskey shenanigans that Trenny and C bring to lift them past that 4K barrier. They really do deserve it. On the nose, this is very, very typically Glen Grant. It's absolutely typically Glen Grant. Very typically light Speyside. A little bit of honey, a little bit of richness in there, a rich honey, but mostly that kind of creamy, floral, a wee bit fruity, a wee bit cereal. Nothing obvious in any direction. Okay, no, the fruit is there. It's tropical. It's white fruit. Maybe a wee bit of pineapple and mango, that kind of tropical fruit. Actually really quite nice. That's actually quite encouraging. It's really encouraging, and it kind of reminds me, I'm not sure of the casking on this, I think it's mostly ex-bourbon, which is my favourite style of whiskey. So that is really quite encouraging. It looks like we've managed to get our Canadian friends over 4,000. 4,009. I love you guys. You're just awesome. Those guys will be able to... So they went earlier today, they were 50 away. And there were, what were they, 40 away when we got on. We've managed to bring 49, 50 subs to those guys in the space of half an hour. And I fully expect that you're going to dip into Trenny and C, and if you don't have a belly laugh, if one of their videos don't make you laugh out loud, I'm going to be shocked, because it's one of the channels that I watch that I have to be careful, because I have literally spat whiskey watching those guys sometimes. That is fantastic. 4,009 subscribers. Well done, you lovely, lovely whiskey folk. Thank you so much. Let's see what they say. Are they happy? Our biggest day ever for subs. Fantastic. See, you're very, very welcome. So send Trenny a message and tell him he wasn't here to witness it and he sucks. Is that how you worded it? Malt Review, Jason is in. You start. I don't know if you were in earlier when I shared the Deanston American Ale cask that you gave me, my friend. And he's also given me a really nice little Patreon pack. I wonder if Matthew Harris is in. Matthew, I need to apologise. This package is for you, and it's been sitting here for a while. And because it was down here in the corner, I completely forgot about it. I'll mail this to you tomorrow. You know exactly what's in it. But I got this from Malt Review as well, which is their Patreon pack. Malt Review do something called a Patreon pack, which is mega cool. And I can't imagine how much work they need to put into this. But occasionally, and I've got 5 of these drams in here, they've got their little custom labeled samples. Fantastic. Wow, I don't know what any of these are. There's a card in here that tells me what they are, but I would like to attempt sipping them blind on my own or with somebody, the Rev, if he's here, to try and fathom what they are, play a little game. At least I might be able to get the ABVs or the style, the genre of whiskey and things like that. Dwayne is saying, thanks, Roy, for the boost for training and see. Dwayne, you're very, very welcome. And I know that the boys over in Canada will be really excited about that as well. It's a fantastic thing to be able to do, to be able to share our community together, right? And it's really powerful. The more that collaborative we get, the more that we support each other, and the more that we try and help each other out. At the end of the day, we're all just making videos in our homes. It's really it can feel like quite a remote thing sometimes. And it's only when you get the feedback from the community and you're able to work and collaborate together that you realize that you're actually doing something that's valuable to people and fun and worthwhile. So let's see what we think of this Glen Grant. I don't have a water dropper tonight, do I? I usually have one on hand, but at 43%, it may not be exactly crying out for it. On the nose, this is very Glenmorangie to me. This is a little bit kind of Glenlivet. Okay, let's go. Let's see what we think, or what I think of the world's best Scotch whiskey. I always say this, especially when you're uncorking, never judge from a neck pour, okay? This definitely needs to relax a wee bit, open up. It needs a bit of time. It's perfectly delicious. It's very light. It's very balanced. There's nothing in any obvious direction. It's not as fruity as it is on the nose. There's fruit there. It's more of a malty thing. No, it's more oaken and vanilla on the palate. Finish isn't bad. It's actually tasty. I feel like it's one of those kind of delicate drams that you'd spend time with and you'd understand more and more and more. Okay, it's got some creaminess now. It's nice. That's nice. A little bit of kind of shortbread and spice. The finish is good. The finish is nice. Honestly, I can tell I'm going to enjoy this. I can tell I'm going to enjoy sharing this. I can tell that the people I give this to will appreciate it too. But there's no obvious hooks here. This has probably been picked out for its delicacy or its balance or its... I didn't read anything about this beforehand, so I don't know why. But Jim, should you be watching, if this is the best Scotch whiskey in the world, what are you drinking? This is very good. This is very, very good whiskey. I am even happy that Glen Grant has that accolade, that they can say that they were voted the best Scotch whiskey. That's cool. It's very cool for them. But I'm never going to be able to read Jim Murray's reasoning because I'm never going to buy the Whiskey Bible. Maybe borrow somebody else's. Okay, let's see what I've been missing in the chat. Tomar, you star, you're in tonight. Fantastic to see you, Tommy, saying, just got here, real fast question. Sean from the Four Dummies put me onto Rosebank. Yes. And I hunted down a 20-year from 2014. Okay. I was wondering your thoughts on this closed distillery. Okay, I've tried very few Rosebanks. I tried a couple of cask strength Diageo Rosebanks that were absolutely delicious, expensive to buy, even by the dram. I've tried the Flora and Fauna. I tried the Flora and Fauna very recently, actually, at the Stirling Whisky Festival last year, or it was actually the Falkirk Whisky Festival, sorry. Rosebank had, they were there as an exhibitor, even although they haven't made any whiskey yet. They haven't reopened. They're not even close to reopening yet. But they brought along their plans. They wanted it to share with everyone. They wanted to share it with whiskey people. And they brought along half a dozen bottles of Flora and Fauna whiskey. Expensive and rare whiskey now, to crack open and share with everybody at the festival, which I thought was remarkably generous. And they've endeared themselves to me already. And I'm also very encouraged that they're owned by Ian MacLeod, which is the same owners of Glengoyne and Tamdhu, and products like Edinburgh Gin and Smokehead and things. A really cool looking Smokehead that's out, by the way. Fully matured in Oloroso sherry, I believe. Could be Bunnahabhain, not sure, just a guess. But yes, I'm not familiar with Rosebank. Obviously, it was very, very highly celebrated, and we're all sad that it's gone. We're excited that it's coming back again. But Tom, it's fantastic to see you in, my friend. This is actually sitting quite nice. As this sits on my palate now, I'm enjoying this. This is a nice whiskey. I can tell that I'm going to sit down and appreciate this. Just had a super chat in from, it's getting better. And there's enough spice to make you think that it might be more than 43. It's not soft at 43. Dwayne, you star, he's saying, thanks again, Roy, for your hospitality while I was in Glasgow. You are welcome, Dwayne. Thank you very much. It was a wonderful night, Slancher to you, my friend, Dwayne, and it's very generous of you to send me a virtual dram as a thank you. Thank you very much. The whiskey friend Alan is saying, Aquavite heard Jim Murray rated JW Red Label better than Glendronach Allardyce. Well, there's a fantastic point. One of the ones I was going to bring up about scoring, right? Because if you score a JW Red Label, now let's say you score it because in the context of a single malt lineup, you might be tempted to give it something low. 65, 60, less, who knows? And then the Glendronach Allardyce, being that big, powerful, rich sherry monster that it is, you may be tempted to score that quite high. But they're not even in the same ballpark. The only thing that puts those whiskies in common is the word Scotch, right? They're not the same mash. They're not the same style of whiskey. They're not intended for the same market. They're not even intended to be consumed in the same way. Glendronach Allardyce is very much designed to be a sipper's whiskey. And Johnnie Walker Red Label is designed as a mixing whiskey. It's designed to have things thrown on top of it or to be thrown inside other things. And if you judge it on that, the quality of JW Red is high. As a blend, as that price point blend, it's a high quality blend. And if you were judging it in a group of blended whiskies, not single malts, not Glendronach Allardyce, I think a 65-60 less would be a misrepresentative score for that whiskey. So there's also a huge argument for not just the context of the reviewer giving the review, but also the context of the whiskey and its intended market and how it should be judged against its peers rather than something completely random like a Glendronach Allardyce. So I'm curious, and obviously I don't know what Jim Murray's justification to his scoring is. And I don't even know that that's the case. I hadn't heard that before, Alan. But yes, thank you for pointing that out, because meant that I could remember that point I wanted to bring up. Thomas is saying, Aquaviti, got to get to work. Enjoyed being in a vPub. Till next time, Slantia. Thomas, I hope I've not missed you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Emery McGill is saying again, Aquaviti, taste is subjective. Absolutely, of course. Maybe that moment in time was the best. A lot of his ratings, though, especially the BTAC awards, are too hard to get to be considered valid, in my opinion. There's lots of people feel the same way. Amy is chasing likes. You star, Amy. It's wonderful to see you in again. It's wonderful to see you bullying everybody else in the lounge to give everybody, to ask them all to just go and give the video a wee thumbs up. I'm very guilty of that as well, especially in a live stream when you're enjoying the chat and you're just in it all and things. You forget that that window has the little like thing underneath it. And if you're watching it on the phone, I tend to watch it kind of landscape like that. You need to tilt it profile to get access to things, which means shutting down the chat for that brief second to go and hit the like. But thanks to you, Amy, I'm a better person, and I've started to remind myself and like the videos that I'm watching, and like the fact that people are willing to give up their time and host live streams and things that we can enjoy in real time and after the event as well. Fantastic. McCallum Final Rear, the doc is saying, Aquaviti, the main flaw of ratings is that they pretend there would be no batch variations. Wrong, absolutely. You know, the job of a master blender is to try and keep consistency in core products as much as possible. But of course, they're constantly chasing the impossible consistency, right? We should embrace the fact that whiskey waxes and wanes, that it changes. It doesn't necessarily get better or worse. It just changes batch to batch. I like whiskies that embrace that, and they even put date codes and batch information on the labels and things, because we can start to enjoy that dynamic. And of course, a score, Jim Murray's Whiskey Bible for Highland Park 12, back when I was buying it, had Highland Park 12 with the same comment for about 4 or more years in a row. It completely ignores that dynamic in whiskey, and I think it's a very, very important one. And also, we change as we go along in our whiskey journey. If I give something a 9 out of 10 now, is that still going to be a 9 out of 10 whiskey for me 5 years from now, 5 months from now? I suggest maybe not, which is why in the recycled reviews, the spreadsheet, if you see my recycled reviews, you click to the score spreadsheet and it takes you to the point in the video and things. You'll see a score column there and all the scores are recorded there. But next to it, there's another column that's called the changed my mind column. And I think that's important. And it's there as a kind of tongue-in-cheek thing, but it's also there to say, look, we need to have the ability to change our mind, to realize that in the context of where we are now in our whiskey journey, our experiences are a bit more mature, then I guess that that was probably a better whiskey than I thought, or it's maybe not as good. Kieran, thank you so much. He's saying, hi, mate, always supporting you. Kieran, you really, really are. Thank you, you star, and thank you for that generous double virtual dram. Thank you very much, my friend. It's wonderful to have you joining once again. Welcome in. Welcome, everybody. Let's see how many are still here, how many is going to hang on to the wee... well, not the wee hours, but the quiz at the end, let's say. I do have 10 questions to share with you a wee bit later on, but I'll hang out for a little while. Enjoy this Glen Grant, let it go down. I keep saying this, it's actually sitting very nice. It's actually a very good whiskey. It really is. There's Rob in as well. Rob, you star, just giving me a fantastic, he's probably at work, he's saying can't stay, parent-teacher interviews, just wanted to say hello. Hello to you too, Rob. It's been a wee while since I've connected and spoken to you, Rob, and you were in my mind earlier today. I was going through my samples, and I've still got a couple of samples down there. I have enjoyed one of them, but there's a couple down there that I would like to pour and share very soon. Maybe you and I would get an opportunity to do that together, maybe even on a wee collaboration or something, although I suspect that some of the whiskies you've sent me have long since been drunk, because you're an absolute star at doing that. Thank you very much, Rob. Thank you for that virtual dram. You're a classy, classy guy and a great friend. Thank you. It is nice. It's delicious. Red Mordecai is saying, I have been monitoring Kalila 12 standard bottling over the past 8 years or so. It does vary such a lot. It's a fantastic thing. Even the worst one, Reb, even the one that you would vote or score you the lowest, I bet you still say that, especially Kalila 12, you still say it's a good whiskey. I think it's probably one of the most consistent Islas, in my opinion. Dustin, you star. Dustin Silvestri is in. He's saying, Roy, on the topic of changes in whiskey, how do you decide when to go back and when to try a new dram? That suggests, Dustin, that I've got some kind of system or rationale to it, and I really don't. It's very, very mood driven. And if I've got people here and I'm sharing whiskey with them, it tends to be driven with a mix of kind of staples and then mixing in a few kind of newer ones that I know that they probably haven't tried before and things. So yeah, there's no kind of rhyme or reason to it. Sometimes I do things where I've got a very specific flight in mind, and I put together a little flight for people. And sometimes I actively want to sit down and study whiskey myself, so I'll be pouring very specific things in contrast. But most of the time it's just whimsy and what I'm in the mood for. Thank you for that, Dustin. Thank you very much. Alan, Whiskey Friend is saying, Aquavidi, how's that Longmorn 16 going? Alan, it's already half gone. Oh, I'm already down to half bottle already. And I was trying to conserve this one. But of course, because I've been raving about it so much and things, I've bottled a few of these and I handed out samples. And I sent some down to Jason in London. I sent some away with the Whiskey Rev. Not a lot, just kind of small samples to them. But these small samples, 5cl here, 5cl there, they add up quite quickly. And I'll be honest and say I've tucked in and had a couple of drams myself out of it. But yours, my friend, is still sitting here on my desk. And I was trying to come up with something else to send along with it before I send it down to you. But don't fret, your whiskey is here and I'll get it down to you. Don't forget these things. I'm just notoriously slow at getting round to them. Jason Mashing and Drum is saying, you were right about the Deanston 12. As I've sipped on it, it's altered into a richer and heavier textured whiskey. Jason, I hope you're loving that whiskey, because for a 12-year-old whiskey, I think that there are few whiskies out there that can go in battle with that Deanston 12 right now and come out anywhere close to being on top. It's amazing. Sid Martin is saying only 3,902 likes and we can tip Roy over 4,000 likes. I think, according to my screen, we've managed to break 100 likes, which is a very good night's work for my my friend and superstar supporter, Amy. Thank you very, very much, everybody, for giving me thumbs up. I really do appreciate it, and I love your feedback too. Any messages coming in from the Rev? He's just, you're a star. You're a star, you really are. You're making sure I don't miss any of these. Malt Review has said that Rosebank is the Turmore of the South. I think Jason likes to keep up this this persona online, and then when you meet him in the flesh, he's just such a nice guy, a great guy. And I mean, I just love hanging out with whiskey geeks, right? And I don't think you get much closer to the jaggy end of the geek spectrum than people like Jason. It was wonderful to spend time with you again on Sunday, Jason. And I think you enjoyed yourself as well. Ralphie was a star, wasn't he? Paul is in. Paul Gibbs, my friend. He's saying, how do you get on with the cast strength Deanston I sent you? I haven't. Paul, I haven't opened it yet. It's here. I had my samples all out earlier because that's when I found the ones from Whiskey in the Six. I haven't tried it yet. That was a signatory vintage one. A lot of these ones I'm keeping, hoping that the Whiskey Rev is actually going to be able to make some time to come over and stop over for a night so that we can try a lot of these whiskies. Because there's so many of them that I know that he would be super excited to try as well. But I will get around to it. And what I usually do is I'm sipping it, I'll take a wee snap and direct message you that I'm enjoying it just now. Blissful Mr. D, I haven't seen him in for a while. I recently enjoyed his Ardbeg Dark Cove that I sent me. That was a fantastic dram. It was a committee release. It was a cast strength version as well. I shared that, and it was a pretty fantastic Ardbeg, if I'm honest about it. Really good. Gregor is in, Gregor Serafian. Fantastic to see you, Greg. He's saying hi, everyone. I missed a lot of things, including an 85 out of 100 rating of the Glen Grant 18 or what. I don't know. If I was rating this right now, it's a neck pour. So this is it's just nothing to take seriously. This would get a high score. It really would. And sip by sip, it's getting better and better. Butteriness now, like I mentioned, that spice is there. Not much, just light. I can see this being a very easy to enjoy dram for most folk. Maybe that's where Mr. Murray's coming from. I don't know. I'd already decided before I opened it that it was unlikely to be the best Scotch whisky I'd tried, or the world's best Scotch whisky. But I can see that it's a very fine Scotch whisky. I'll maybe pour a couple of these and share it out and see what people think about it, because I know it's really difficult to get a hold of right now. Tom is saying, I noticed you do a subtle bottle invert before you open and pour a dram. I know what you're doing, but can you explain the importance of doing this for bottles that have been sitting? Yeah, I mean, even on new bottles, especially important on older bottles and bottles that you've had sitting in the cabinet for a while, especially if you have your lights in your cabinet. If that cork becomes brittle or dried out, and it's become a muscle memory thing now that I kind of do. And sometimes you forget a lot, but if you just kind of, before you open a cork, just kind of make sure the cork's wet, and as you open it, you can tell whether it's tight, and you can tell there's a squeak from it when it's dry. But if it's wet, you can feel that it's coming out quite nicely. And it just helps. I still get broken corks. It still happens. But if you're gentle with it, and if you kind of use the whiskey to help it out a wee bit, then you get less of that happening. There's nothing more frustrating than coming out with a sieve or filter, coffee filters and things like that, to try and save a bottle of whiskey that's got cork fragments littered through it. Whiskey Friend is asking, I think I'm going to crack open one of my long run 16s and review it. Pause. Wait. Let me send that one to you. Then you can decide if opening one of your long run 16s is worth it. I would suggest absolutely, Alan, it should be. But the long run 16 is a bit like a spicier version of this. There's nothing obvious apart from that super, super fresh kind of pineapple-y tropical fruit thing that's in it. I used to get like a peach apricot yogurt type thing from it, because there's a bit of creaminess to it as well. Love that whiskey, absolutely love it. So hang on until your sample gets to you, my friend. Whiskey Throttle is saying, what is the thoughts on the lot 40 since the neck pour? Curious. So Daniel, your lot 40 has been smashed into smithereens and sent all across Scotland. I carried a lot of very small samples of that, 3CL samples, the little Master of Malt sample bottles. And I poured maybe 15 or 16 of those. So the bottle has been absolutely pounded. But I wanted people to taste that whiskey. I wanted people to taste the event that it is. That I'll never forget that arrival, that kind of soft arrival that just started to just crank up through kind of all those spices and the fresh ginger, and then ramped up to that chilly heat. I thought it was a fantastic event whiskey. I gave a very generous bottle of that, a decent sample out of it that was probably about a 6 ounce bottle, 4 or 6 ounce. I don't, no, you're metric in Canada, right? So I would say it was maybe about, I think about 12 CLs or more to Ralphie on the tasting on Sunday. I asked him if he'd tried it. He said he hadn't tried it. And I gave him the bottle, and he was very, very grateful for it as well. He'd heard a lot about it. So that's been shared with a lot of people, and I hope to have some feedback from everybody, because I just needed people to experience what that lot 40 does. It's quite amazing. And he's saying, very proud of you giving Ralphie that huge sample, of course. You know, it was the first time I ever met Ralphie. I was talking to him, and he was talking about when he goes to visit distilleries, and this has stuck with me, and it's a practice that I will try to adopt. And he said that when he goes to brands and he goes to producers, he goes to distilleries, he'll very often carry a little sample of something that he's enjoying as a gift to give to them. And he wants to make it very clear at the outset that he's not there to get necessarily. He's there to enjoy, and he wants to kind of share whiskey with them too. And a lot of brands over the years have been quite taken aback by that gesture. And I think that's a wonderful practice and a wonderful gesture, and yet another mark of the man that is Ralphie, right? Kilted Moose is saying, I was lucky enough to receive a dram of the lot 40. You were, Scott. Scott was one of the guys that got it. Thank you both trying it this weekend. I hope you feed back to Daniel. He's on Twitter as well, Scott, same as you. And Daniel is also a Whiskey for My Motorcycle on Instagram. Wes Jolly is in. Fantastic from the Proper Pour Whiskey Club, Wes. Good to see you, my friend. Nice to welcome you in here. Whiskey Whistle, Mark is a new star. Aquavite Rough, love Ralphie's gesture in that shot. Listen, you know, Ralphie is utterly disarming and endearing as a man. There's something very comforting about being around him and listening to his wee stories and listening to him going off in tangents and things like that. And he had everybody in that tasting on Sunday purring like kittens. It was wonderful to be part of. Okay, we now have 144 people still tuned in, so you've stayed with me for an awful long time tonight. We're an hour and a half in. Thank you so much. The time goes by so fast. Getting messages in as well. Well, I don't even know. I just check these quickly before I go and set up the quiz for tonight. The quiz at the end. Remember, it's multiple choice, so if you've never participated before, please stick around and have a bit of fun. You can learn a little bit. Maybe it'll pique your curiosity in some areas. Last week, the quiz was a disaster. It culled a lot of people, and I don't know why that was. It did seem to be a tricky quiz with some low scores, but normally it's a much more gentle thing. So please stick around if you can for that, and enjoy the quiz at the end. Wow. Okay. Whiskey Freedom, have you tracked down any Cadenheads or a Thrusk yet? No, Whiskey Freedom, I haven't yet, but it looked like a fantastic dram. It was day dramming. It was Andrew that was drinking that, wasn't it? Mash Drum is saying, Aquavita, you were right about the Deanston 12. Yes, I got that comment. Fantastic, Rev. Thank you. And Mark G. Hi, Roy. Just joined. Is that the most recent Springbank local barley you're flipping around? No, it isn't. But it's very, very nice to welcome you in, Mark. You're very welcome here. Thanks for joining and thanks for commenting. This is actually the one from the end of last year, I think. This is the 10-year-old that came out, I think, in November or maybe December last year. But there's one just popped out now, a 9-year-old. Haven't seen it anywhere. Haven't had any tip-offs or anything yet. I'm on a self-imposed embargo, but for a Springbank local barley, and given how difficult it is, that might be one of the bottles to break that embargo. So yes, it's last year's one that I've been able to be quite careful with. I'm only halfway through it. It's delicious too. And I haven't tried the 9-year-old, Mark. Frank Harding is saying, no cat question this time, please. I promise, Frank, there'll be no cat questions. And you'll be glad to know that the cats have names now. One of the cats is Barley. And I'm not suggesting that I got my way, but I'm suggesting that over time, Barley's sister has become known as Brora. So we have Barley and Brora. There we go. Aquavite. So for a bit of fun, the same question as I asked Ralphie. If you had to lose your sense of smell or taste, which would you choose? Taste. Only because you're putting me on the spot. I said, this is a horrible question, Sevi. It's horrible. Mark Gee, would be great to get all together one day at Roy's for a massive whiskey festival. Well, we wouldn't have a massive whiskey festival. We'd maybe have a festival for sure. I wouldn't like to be providing the whiskey for that though. Although we do have to do something because I'm actually sitting on too much whiskey right now, if I'm honest. I need to get a bit of a clear out going. Maybe I need to get some stuff shared and get another recycled review going. What do you think? Okay. Whiskey Whistle is bailing out and saying, time to be a dad again, over and out. Cheers, Roy. I know the responsibilities you have, Mark, but don't use it as an excuse for not doing the quiz. Cheers, my friend. It was nice to have you in tonight. Thank you so much. Mark as well, Whiskey Whistle. Used to be in Korea, used to do his whiskey reviews from Korea. He's back in Winnipeg now, back in Canada, and putting out content again. Congratulations to him. He's just become a realtor in Canada after sitting an intensive course and exam, and he's just started out on his new career this week. So here's a raise a glass to you, Mark, and I wish you all the very best for your new career. I hope it doesn't keep you very far away from the whiskey that you love so much, my friend. All the best. I am enjoying this Glen Grant, I have to be honest. Okay, let's get the water on hand for this quiz. And I'll try and be a little slicker about the quiz this week. Whiskey Freedom is saying, we'll host you at Hampton Manor. You bring the whiskey. Hampton Manor is down in it's in the Midlands somewhere, isn't it? Is it near Coventry or something? And I believe that you're curating a whiskey bar down there, so that might be a cool thing to do. It'd certainly be cool to drop in and visit you if I'm down there. It's very close to my friend Vin, No Nonsense Whiskey. Travis is saying, Aquavite, wonder what a recycled review would look like from Daniel and Rex 200 bottles later. Absolutely. Well, they get through it as well because those guys out there, they do share a lot of their whiskey. A lot of people pass through that vault and they get to try a lot of the whiskies that are there. So that's pretty cool. Right, let's pull up this quiz. Quiz at the end, multiple choice as always. There's 3 options. So there's a 33% chance, even if you have to guess right. Keep your own score, and you can share your score as we go through and things like that. I usually get to the halfway point and ask people to check in, see how many people are on 5 out of 5, and share what you've scored at the end. It's just for fun. There are no prizes. There is a bit of pride sometimes at stake, but I think it's a huge celebration when people manage a high score, and some occasionally get 10 out of 10 and have a lot of fun doing it as well. The Whiskey Rev is saying, it'll be fun to gather at Duff Towers. Yeah. Well, what about Whiskey Rev Towers up there in the Highlands? How about coming up to the Speyside region and having a festival with you, Whiskey Rev? How about I flip that around on you? Fantastic. Okay. Let's bring you to the quiz. Strap yourselves in. Like I say, keep your own score. We'll get this thing going. Hopefully you can see that now. Question 1. Which distillery reopened in 2004 after 82 years with stills from Benwivis Distillery and the Spirit Safe from Craigellachie? So yeah, we're looking for a distillery that shut down for 82 years, and then in order to reopen again, it had been gutted and cleared out. Excuse me, so they had to reinstate a lot of their stuff, and they managed to get a Spirit Safe from Craigellachie and stills from Benwivis. Was it Bruichladdich, A. Bruichladdich, B. Glengyle, or C. Isle of Arran? Meadmule is in as well. Fantastic to see you in. Meadmule says Kilkerran, it's not a distillery. Sebi has said Kilkerran, it's not a distillery. I think probably you mean Glengyle then. Multi-Haggis Muncher Matthew is saying easy start. Do you think I'm going to be perhaps a wee bit easier on you after last week? Maybe. Maybe the pendulum has swung in the opposite direction. I think we have an absolute assault of bees coming in. Very few of you are brave enough to deviate from that, the bees. Have we got any? Mark Stevens has said A. Cask Strength has said A, so that is veto. So everybody else is saying B, mash burn. Ross, fantastic to see you. And I would say that I was hoping that you were going to come in. Let me tell you just quickly while we're doing this quiz that Ross, mash burn, him and his wife were having a holiday in Italy when they found out about the Ralphie tasting. So they rerouted home to come from Italy to the States. They came via Scotland. They stopped in Glasgow. They went to the festival. We spent the day with them there. We had food with them on the Saturday night, and then they joined us at the Ralphie tasting on Sunday, and then at the pot still afterwards. And it was fantastic to spend some time with you. Not least because you gifted me this, my friend. Now I know how delicious this is, because another very cool thing happened. You gave this to Ralphie. You gifted a bottle of this to him. And Ralphie, being the guy he is, just stood up at the end of the tasting after you'd gifted it to him, cracked it open, and offered to pour it for anybody at that tasting who wanted to try it. So he got through a huge trunk of his bottle, just sharing it there and then, which I thought was awesome for you guys to gift it to him in the first place, and an awesome gesture for him to share it. And it was delicious, 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 delicious bourbon. Really quite amazing. Fantastic to welcome you in, Ross. It was wonderful to spend time with you, my friend, at the weekend, and thank you for your continued support. Okay, let's get back to this quiz quickly. I'm sure that many of you know already that, yes, it is, of course, Glengyle, where they make Kilkerran. Diageo, I think, own Glengyle as a trademark. Okay, question 2. Which distillery has the largest wash still charge in Scotland at 21,000 litres? This is not to be confused with which distillery has the largest wash still. There's a difference, right? The largest charge versus the largest wash still. Is it A, Macallan, B, Tobermory, or C, Glenkinchie? So that's how much wash goes into the first pot still, which is the bigger pot still. Some of these pot stills can be pretty massive. This is actually one of the biggest in Scotland. Don't actually know what the biggest one is, but this is the one that takes the biggest charge. This is a difficult question. I know for sure it's difficult. Is it A, Macallan, B, Tobermory, or C, Glenkinchie? 3 very different distilleries there, a Speyside, an Island distillery, and a Lowland one. So I guess the answers are all over the place. Simon Ray, A, Macallan Final Rare, C. Matt 69, good to see you, Matt. A. Moz is saying C. Whiskey Jason, fantastic. Whiskey Jason to see you. Saying C. Travis, A. Jimmy Jazz, hey Jimmy, saying A. Christine Deems, A. Let's have a wee look. Christine Deems is in as well. Fantastic, Christine, good to see you. It is, bizarrely, Glenkinchie. Glenkinchie has one of the biggest wash stills in Scotland. I'm not sure, like I said, it'd be good to hear who has the biggest one, but they certainly take the biggest charge, 21,000 litres of delicious wash. Excuse me, give yourself a point if you chose C for that one as we move on to the next question. Okay, this is a pictorial question. So you'll see this picture coming up. And it should be fairly obvious what I'm looking for here. I would like you to tell me, we're obviously looking at floor maltings, right? Which distillery is this? Which distillery's floor maltings is this? So there are only a few distilleries that have floor maltings left. And this one is either A, Laphroaig, B, Bamore, C, Balvenie. So I'll leave that up there. I'll leave that picture up there and let you try to work out which maltings that is, which floor maltings that is. Catch up with it. Everybody's, oh, some guesses came in saying Springbank, straight from the get-go when Springbank isn't even an option. So let's see, Everwind, Whiskey Jason and Mark G all thought Springbank. Wow. Let's see what they say. Whiskey Jason has now said Balvenie. He's switched. Everwind. Let's see if Everwind comes in with an answer. Adam is thinking C cautiously. Rolf is thinking A. Craig Dollier is saying Lefroig. Laughing Frog. Good to see you in, Craig. I hope you've recovered after the weekend, my friend. Owen G thinks A. Jason Whiskey Wise is answering A. Cascode is saying A. So this one is certainly going to split. There's going to be a lot of people lose out here. Okay. I can tell you that this distillery's floor maltings looks like this is Balvenie. The Balvenie. So I know it's one of the most toured distilleries in Scotland. The Balvenie tour is one of the best write-ups as well. Apparently it's a fantastic tour. I've never taken that specific tour myself, but that is what their floor maltings looks like. Now, I have made an error already. I can see that I seem to have skipped a question tonight. So it's out of 9 this evening. The maximum is, let's make it out of 10. Just give yourself a bonus at the end. I've only given you 9 questions because this 4th question is actually numbered question 5. So in my rush to get things ready after work tonight again, I made an arse of it. I hope you forgive me. And we can just give you all a point. So nobody is going to end up on a donut tonight. So don't worry, Vito, cast strength on 0 out of 3. You've got one already, a free one on me. As we move into question 5. Which of these bottles is the most expensive and on the primary market? I'm specifically talking about recommended retail of these now, okay? So this is going to be fun. Is it Dalmore 50-year-old A? Is it B, Craigellachie 51-year-old? Or is it C, Macallan 50-year-old? A, Dalmore 50-year-old, B, Craigellachie 51-year-old, or C, Macallan 50-year-old? Which is the most expensive on the primary market? Bit of a crazy scenario going on here. Let's see what the questions are like. Mark Stevens is saying that this is a cool question. Yes, it is. Credit to the person who made this question. This may be a Whiskey Rev question. It's a Whiskey Rev question. Answers all over the place. Jason Whiskey Wise is saying C. Frank is saying Dalmore. Rolf is saying A, which is Dalmore, yes. Chris Bank Wildlife, good to see you in. Chris is saying A. Adam is saying C, but that seems too obvious. Well, let's have a little look, sorry. The most expensive on the primary market is, in fact, A, the Dalmore 50 years old. Now, if I go back to I received this question from the Whiskey Rev, and he told me the prices. The Dalmore 50-year-old is 50 grand. Come on, it's just comedy. The Macallan 50. The Macallan is middle 20s. Balvenie, which it wasn't an option there as well. There's a Balvenie 50-year-old, which is also middle 20s. But interestingly, the Craigellachie 51-year-old is free, which is quite a nice little kind of protest marketing gesture, right? a bit fed up with all the craziness that's going on about the prices they've put together. A 51-year-old, and they're giving it out as they tour this 51-year-old up and down the country, and they're not charging for it. So if you can get your hands on it, if you get to try that, you can't buy the Craigellachie 51-year-old. It is, in fact, free. There we go. So let's see where we are. A Whiskey Jason is on 4 out of 5. Good for you. I can see some people making fun of other people in here. Whiskey Throttle is 2 out of 4. No, it should be out of 5 just now. So that's you 3 out of 5 Whiskey Throttle. Daniel is saying 4 out of 5. Wes Jolly 4 out of 5. Fantastic. Jens is on 4 out of 5. So is there any 5 out of 5s? Adam, you star 5 out of 5. There you go. Superb work. The Doc, of course, 5 out of 5. Superb. Macallan Fine and Rare is also on a full house. Superb. So it's between you guys, whoever's going to hit the banana skin first, unless there's any other 5 out of 5s there that I haven't spotted yet. Let's move on to question 6. It's an interesting one as well. Which is Scotland's largest distillery by theoretical capacity? So when I talk about theoretical capacity, that is Scotland's largest distillery. I'm not suggesting they are making this, but they are fully working right now with the ability to, theoretically tomorrow, run at this capacity. Litres of alcohol per annum. Which is Scotland's largest distillery? Is it A, Macallan? Now remember, Macallan's big new shiny distillery, of course. Is it B, Roseisle? I've heard Roseisle described as Diageo's Death Star. And C, Glenlivet. One of the original single malts, pretty massive distillery up there in Speyside. Paul Sweeney is on 5 out of 5 as well. Well done for you, Paul. Good work. So that's 3 of you on 5 out of 5. At least Sid Martin is on 4 out of 5. Let's see how we get on. Scotland's largest distillery by litres of alcohol per annum. What do we think it is? Questions all over the place again. People either choosing Macallan or Glenlivet. Simon Ray is saying A. Marku Makinen is saying C. Matt is saying B. Okay, so this one's all over the place. Mash Burn is saying B. Multi-Haggis Muncher C. Mark Stevens A. Okay, and I'm obviously talking about malt distilleries here. Let me clarify in case that wasn't obvious. Talking about these 3 distilleries, we're talking about malt distilleries. Whiskey Jason is saying, should this not be single malt distilleries? Yes, we're talking about malt distilleries, Jason, of course. If we factored grain whiskey distilleries into this, the numbers that we're talking about at Macallan, Glenlivet, and Roseisle would be shrunk into almost insignificance, I think. Okay, let's see. With everybody splitting all over the place, Scotland's largest malt distillery by theoretical capacity is, in fact, Glenlivet. Glenlivet. Roseisle is massive, 12.5 million litres. Macallan is massiver at 15 million litres. Glenlivet is staggeringly huge at 21 million litres capacity. And I've gone from the stats in the Scotch Malt Whisky Yearbook for that. I was staggered to learn the capacity of Glenlivet. It's just huge. Okay, question 7, a Glasgow-themed question. Which expression has just been launched from the first Glasgow malt distillery in 100 years? So we need to be careful here because there has been malt produced in Glasgow, but it wasn't in a malt distillery. It was a malt set up in an existing distillery. And what we're looking for is specifically a malt-only distillery the first time that it's happened. It's just been launched, first time in 100 years. Was it Clydeside 1770, B. Clutha 1770, or C. Glasgow 1770? While I'm speaking to you here, I've had notifications popping up. Somebody's just commented and said that they like the videos, but they don't like the music. It's the most common negative feedback I get. People don't like the music. I want to keep the music. I'll perhaps choke it back a little bit, little by little, but I like to keep it. So let's see that one again. It's which expression has just been launched for the first Glasgow malt distillery in 100 years? Was it? It was the expression the Clydeside 1770, the Clutha 1770, or the Glasgow 1770? Wow. We're all looking for a banana skin, eh? Everybody thinks this is A. Everybody thinks this is Clydeside 1770. Cast Strength is saying, I love the music. Thank you very, very much, Vito. So many people do like it. John Paul van der Hoven is agreeing with you. Tom Harris saying he loves the music. Sean Nemo is saying he loves the music. Sean, it's wonderful to see you. And again, good to welcome you back, my friend. I love keeping up with things in your life through your Instagram account as well, buddy. Jenny sees back in time for the quiz. We are back in time to take part in the last 4 questions of the quiz, buddy. Superb. Okay, let's go back and see what this Glasgow thing is. The first malt from Glasgow in the last 100 years is actually C, the Glasgow 1770. Now, it's a shame I don't have a bottle of this here. I did manage to get one. I've got one downstairs. So Clydeside is in the city centre. I mentioned this earlier, just southwest of the city. Glasgow Distillery is a little outside the city in Hillington. And Clutha hasn't opened yet. It's still in planning stages. So it is, in fact, C. Glasgow Distillery is the first one to release. Clydeside you can buy new make, and you can buy a bunch of other stuff from, including this nice Talisker 8-year-old here. But you can't buy any Clydeside whiskey yet, only new make. Adam is saying, damn it, he's hit his banana skin. Jason Whiskey Wise is saying it's B, C, or A. Jason Whiskey is saying, can't be asked. CBA can't be asked. CBA is a common acronym in this house as well, Jason. Okay, let's move on quickly to question 8. Which of these distilleries is not Taiwanese? Always like to slip in a world whiskey question, right? Which of these distilleries is not Taiwanese? Is it A, Kavalan Distillery, B, Union Distillery, or C, Nantu Distillery? So be careful, it's not Taiwanese. Which one is not? A, Kavalan Distillery, B, Union Distillery, or C, Nantu Distillery? What do we think it is? ONG is saying the Makar gin was a bit blur. I actually quite like the Makar gin. I'm not a gin fan, so I don't come at it from an aficionado point of view, but I thought it was fine. It just tasted like gin to me. Now, I'm actually tempted to go back and pour another Glen Grant 18. So, yes, I seem to be enjoying it much more than I expected. It's actually very, very lovely. I love it's very, very typical light Speyside. So if you imagine the Speyside style that is not heavily, heavily sherried, this is very much it. So lots of people are saying, oh, B and C, both. So I guess everybody knows that Kavalan is a Taiwanese distillery. So we're only getting B's and C's coming back to us. Mose is saying, good to see you in, Mose. He's saying so many banana skins. Fantastic. Let's see. The one that is not Taiwanese is, in fact, Union Distillery. So if you answered B, give yourself a point. Nantu is a Taiwanese distillery, as of course is Kavalan. But Union Distillery is Brazilian. They are located in Brazil. Apparently, I wouldn't have known that. It was only through making this quiz that I found that out. Second last question. And this one is, I think it's a giveaway, if I'm honest. Let's see. Which producer occasionally releases an expression called juveniles? Which producer occasionally releases an expression called juveniles? Is it A, Douglas Laing? Is it B, Berry Brothers? Or is it C, Compass Box? A. Douglas Lane, B. Berry Brothers, or C. Compass Box? Who releases an expression called juveniles? Never tried it, but I think they're on 3 or 4 batches, I'm not sure. And I think we're expecting an upcoming fresh release of this. Yes, I think with very few exceptions, everybody seems to think this is C, which would be Compass Box. Let's have a wee look. The producer that's just about to release another batch of juveniles is indeed Compass Box. So if you've answered C, give yourself a point. And as we move into the very last question, so I guess that I'm looking for everybody to give me their marks out of 10 tonight, even though it's only 9 questions. So you've got a freebie from me for being an idiot and not filling out the 3rd question or whichever one I missed. But it's a freebie on me, so nobody gets a donut tonight. Nobody gets a 0. As we move into the last one, Mark G is saying 3 out of 9. Unlucky this time, Mark. You might be able to make it 4 on the last one. Whisky Jason, good score. Jason, superb. 8 out of 9. That's fantastic. Wes Jolly, 7 out of 9. Great score. Whiskey Jason, 8 out of 9. 7 out of 8, of course, yeah. Tom R is saying 3 out of 9 as well. Unlucky Tom. Owen is on 6. Still a good score. Mo's on 3. Whiskey Frontier, 5. Okay, let's move into the last question then. And see how we got on with this. I think this is fairly easy. Have I got a bug in my hair? Just a bug flying here. Bugs in November. Last question. What has Mortlach named its new 12-year-old expression? So Mortlach has just released in the last few weeks a brand new lineup of whiskies, which was needed because they'd made a mess of it the last time they released it. But we want to know, what is the name of their 12-year-old expression? Have they called their 12-year-old the Beast of Dufton? Have they called it the Wee Witchy? Or have they called it Cowie's Blue Seal? So is the Mortlach 12-year-old now called A, the Beast of Dufton, B, the Wee Witchy, or C, Cowie's Blue Seal? All of those names, of course, synonymous with Mortlach and Dufton. Let's see what we have. 124 of you joining in until the end for this quiz. It's fantastic that you stay this long. It's fantastic that you have fun doing this thing. I love hanging out with you guys. I love that you enjoy this. Superb. Jason on the moderation skills, freeing up some of the withheld comments. Jason, you're a star. Thank you very, very much. Might have been the Whiskey Rev, actually. I've got 2 of you looking after me tonight. I am spoiled, I absolutely am. So you seem to be a wee bit all over the place. Lots of you are guessing B, lots of you are sticking your neck out and going for the Beast of Dufton, and lots of you think, only actually 1 or 2 of you have said C. In fact, none of you have said C. Wow. Okay, let's go and see what the 12-year-old Mortlach is actually called. They're calling it the Wee Witchy. The Wee Witchy, after their famous pot still, which is part of their 2.81 distillation style. Fantastic. That's the quiz wrapped up. I'm over 2 hours. Damn. I really need to rein in my monologuing. There are guests coming up. There are guests teed up as we run over Christmas time and winter time. I will have some people dropping in and joining me, so you're not sitting with me all the time. But I have to be honest, the feedback I get is that you enjoy guests, but you want guests to bring a value. You want them to bring some entertainment and things. And you seem to be here to enjoy the chat and the hangout and the community, the sense of fellowship and things. And when there's a guest on, it shifts the dynamic a little bit to be more of a presentation. I understand that completely. I get it. And if I think back to how I enjoy live streams. I feel very much the same way. So the guests will always be brought on board with the idea that they can bring a value or something that I think that you guys will find quite cool. Mark Stevens is saying 2 out of 10, kill me now. Not at all, Mark. Absolutely not at all. You only know it if you know it. And I think a lot of the questions tonight would have been pretty damn tricky. Simon Ray's saying 3 out of 10. Ouch. Cascode 6 out of 10. A weak pass mark. Pass mark is a pass mark. Well done, Cascode. Paul Sweeney, 7 out of 10. That's a good score. Dwayne Large is saying it's a pure pleasure to... Sorry. The Whiskey Rev is saying to Dwayne Large, it's a pure pleasure to spend time with everyone here. It is, isn't it? It's fantastic. It's a really, really good community. And I'm constantly getting told about the YouTube community in general, regardless of what the channel is, seem to attract very good people, very benevolent people, very generous people, very community-minded people. And that's very, very cool. We don't seem to suffer from the same kind of trolling and people just trying to be funny type problems that they get under in so many other areas of YouTube. It's a fantastic place to be enjoying whiskey right now, and long may it last. So who's our winner of the night? 7 out of 10 is the best. Adam, 7 out of 10, not too shabby. It's a damn good score. Did anybody beat that? The Doc, you star, 8 out of 10, well done. Frank Harding, 8 out of 10, brilliant score. The Malt Cask Etty, great to see you in. Fantastic score as well. And another 8 out of 10, superb. So there we have it, Etty, the Malt Cask, Frank Harding, Macallan Final Rare, the Doc, all scoring 8 out of 10. Maybe there are some other 8 out of 10s out there. I apologise if I've missed it. John Paul van der Hoven leaves me with a virtual dram, you superstar. It's actually, I call you John Paul. It's Jan Paul. Of course it is. It would be Jan Paul. I apologise for how I'm pronouncing that. Thank you so much for that virtual dram, my friend. I hope you've enjoyed your time here tonight. Thank you. Let's just see if I've got any housekeeping things to do. On the 20th of November, the London Whisky Club has an event. I don't know if it's full. They might still have spaces, but that's Connor Strang, Mikey Hay, Jez Batty, James Hope. Jez and James I got to hang out this weekend with. Lovely, lovely people. Jason Whiskey Wise. Who else is at London Whisky Club? Shiv. You know, so many of my patrons. And what I actually loved to hear recently was that London Whisky Club was born out of the YouTube whiskey community, and perhaps even the community that support me on this channel, which is super exciting to hear that can happen. I've just had a super chat in from Ustar. He's saying, came in late, but glad I finally got to tune in. Scott, I know that it's you. You are some kind of gentleman. Wonderful for you to drop in. Wonderful for you to leave your mark. Wonderful for you to send me a virtual dram across the water. Thank you, my friend, for everything that you continually do. The energy that guy has is quite frightening. Amazing, Scott. Thank you very, very much. But yeah, the London Whisky Club, if you're in the London area, if you can be in the London area and you're interested in joining those guys, it's londonwhiskeyclub@gmail.com. Get in touch with those guys. Later tonight, you'll be able to join the Scotch for Dummies live. Yes, I have another small announcement about there is a small tongue-in-cheek, very under-the-radar competition in the description box in the last recycled review. I've picked the winner for that. I haven't seen them in tonight. I was looking out for them, so I'll maybe wait to see when they appear again, because I know they do often join in on the live. I'll contact them directly through the comments, but the idea was that if anybody mentioned in the comments, I'm purring like a whiskey-filled kitten, they were going to win a little prize. I just wanted to measure who was reading to the bottom of the description box in these things, because it takes us a long time to put these really in-depth descriptions together, right, with all the tags and everything. Especially for me on the recycled videos, because I'm linking to so many other YouTube channels for their reviews. So it takes me a long time to do that and to put in the timestamps and everything. And so I just said, who's reading this? Who's reading to the bottom? And so many of you are reading to the bottom, and so many of you did reply in that comments thread. I am purring like a whiskey-filled kitten, and I thank you for that. The winner, I'll just let you know, was Sherry Malt Drams. I just did a random draw of the people that said that statement, and it was Sherry Malt Drams. I don't know where they are. I don't know where they are in the world, but I will reach out to them directly and let them know. Thank you so much to everybody. A fantastic, fantastic night here again. wonderful sense of community, wonderful sense of sharing whiskey. Makes the highlight of my week for sure. It's much better than sipping alone. I hope you feel the same way. Next week is a Patreon only on the 22nd, but I'll be back for another vPub on the 29th. I've just had another chat in from Jimmy Jazz. Thank you so much, Jimmy. He's saying $1 for every question he got right. Listen, if you get 5 out of 10, that's a pass mark. Well done, Jimmy. Thank you very, very much for your participation and for your super chat, my friend. Whisky, Jason is saying, thank you for a great evening. It's been great for me. If it's been great for you as well, that's just a bonus. Jason, you're very, very welcome. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Germany in a couple of weeks' time. Metalman71, you're in. Good to see you here again. Saying cheers. Thank you. Cheers, Metalman, as well. Good to see you back in. Cast Strength is saying cheers. Cheers, Vito. Oh, Vito, you might want to see this. Vito was one of the winners of the competition I ran for the Ralphie tasting. Now, being in Canada, he couldn't join. Zach Andrews was also another one of the winners who entered and couldn't join. But there was a backup prize for the people who couldn't make it to Glasgow at the weekend, and it was a care package. I'll give you a sneak peek of some of the things that I'm putting together for the care package there. But it's well underway, my friend, and it'll be coming to you very, very soon. The last couple of pieces of the jigsaw arrived today. So hopefully I'll be able to get Zach and Vito's packages packed up and shipped out to you so that you can enjoy them in the very near future. Thank you so much, my friends. I've got the very last sip of the best Scotch whisky in the world to raise a glass and to say thank you so much for supporting me, supporting this community, being part of this, and for sharing whisky. It's fantastic to be here on a Thursday night with you, and I very much look forward to the next vPub on the 29th. And until next time, Sláinte. No bad.